Hello, my fellow individuals. I am Mr. Mini Mask Man here, and today I'm going to review Season 7, Episode 13 of The Walking Dead. Now, honestly, if you have not seen the episode, then please do not watch this video until you do so, as it contains major spoilers. First of all, I'd like to say that sorry for this long delay for this video. Spring break, hung out with friends on the weekend and all that, so didn't come back till almost yesterday, I think. So that's why there was this delay for this, but, well, here I am now, so I'm back. Now, let's see, when I came back I saw the episode, and I definitely actually like this episode a lot. I really do. I like this one a lot, especially way better than the previous one, for sure. So, this is one of my favorite ones for sure so far for this season overall, for Season 7, especially for the mid-season. Like I said, this is finally the episode, what I was hoping for, of what triggers the Kingdom and Carol, and hell, even Morgan especially in this episode, what made them now finally decide to fight, or join forces, against Negan and the Saviors. Well, this episode finally answered all that. Now, let me see. I didn't get this at first until I read from other people's comments on this one, where the whole speech that this woman gave to Ezekiel about the garden, where I think it was like the weeds or something was going to the main garden, and she says it's rather okay to burn it all to the ground because I'm obviously butchering this, but and sometimes she said you can always burn it to the ground, but it can always grow back, and and I thought when I first heard it, I was like, she's just trying to say something. I knew it was something like a sign or some metaphor and all that, but I didn't know exactly till what, until obviously it became obvious later, but until I read it from other people, where I'm like, oh, okay. So that was the point of that, where she was saying, telling Ezekiel that it's okay to go and fight for what you believe in, for freedom and all that. You're going to cause war, but at the end result, peace will always come back. Basically, that's what other people were saying. So, and I did not catch that until, when I read other people's, oh, okay, other people's comments, So, clever. Very clever. Now, let's see, obviously they're doing the whole, giving their parts for the saviors there on these cantaloupes. I think it was 12 of them. Now, during the exchange, I knew something was going to go down. I didn't know what was the cause because I was going to say, what would be the cause, But then, when they were missing that one cantaloupe, apparently, they didn't agree with their bargain there. So that's what caused it until, typical savior style. I was like, for punishment, you're going to get it. Somebody's got to get it. And then that one douchebag savior with the long hair or whatever that had Morgan's staff, he gets the gun, expecting to shoot Richard. But instead, he does the whole quote-unquote switcheroony and just throws it and shoots someone else. And I knew that was going to be a huge factor of why the Kingdom is going to fight back. I knew it had to involve a character death. And most likely, I already, in some case, knew. I didn't know. You know what, to be honest, I pretty much knew that it was going to be Benjamin. Especially this episode, they focused on him a lot more. And we all know the tricks for television series, where they focus on one character that they have never barely focused on for a while, or almost never, and they all of a sudden now start focusing on this character, having these dramatic moments with other characters, like between Benjamin and Morgan, and all that, and then Benjamin's, I think it was his brother, right? Little brother? I don't know if it was his kid or his brother. Richard was saying it like if it was his son, like he was raising a son or whatever, but I don't know if it was his kid or his brother. I think it was his brother, for what I remember when Morgan was training him, the little kid or whatever. So I was just kind of like, this is a sign. It's a sign right here that something's gonna happen. And what do you know what it did? So they shot Benjamin, I think right now, somewhere. And I don't know if it was in the leg or in the stomach. I can't remember. I think it was in the leg, but it hit a major artery. And he was bleeding out, and that group leader, that small group leader of the Saviors that always visit the Kingdom, I forgot the guy's name. He kind of got pissed off at what happened, and he told the guy, get back in the car and don't say a word. But he still made him stay to make a point. You know what's interesting about him, actually, was compared to like Negan, of course, and with Simon, aka Trevor. This guy's more punctual, I guess, on how things work. He's not, well, you know, I mean, he's still a bad guy overall, but compared to the other two, he's not whole kind of the power hungry thing, or takes advantage of whatever. He just kind of goes there and just does what he does, you know. He just says, I'm here to collect, you know, give me your stuff. Is it good? Alright, good, let's get out, you know. He's like, sometimes you even see in his facials, like, he just, he's like kind of meh, I'm just here because I have to be, you know. So it's just kind of, his character is kind of interesting because there's a point where you still hate him, of course, but not as much. Obviously not as much as the other guy with the long hair. Obviously that's automatic hate. You know, you want that guy dead. We all want to see that guy dead. But no, it's more, what was I going to say? I don't know, he's more like he does his job. It's almost like he's just doing his job. And when, you know, when he gets to get serious, he gets serious, you know? So, and even, you know, when they came back for that whole cantaloupe situation, he even told the guy to get back in the car before he caused any more trouble. So it's, in a way, at least for me, I want to say he's one of the very, very, very few, or maybe the only one I could think of that's you kind of respect from the Saviors, but I'm, you know, very loosely saying kinda. Where you kind of respect the guy, he's just doing what he's got to do, you know? And I'm like, huh, you know, this guy doesn't, you know, he doesn't really strike you as, you know, mean or, well, he, you know, when Benjamin was bleeding out, he could have just said, okay, we'll talk about this later and leave, but no, he wanted to really strictly make a point, even though if Benjamin was bleeding out to death, he stalled, you know, so I was just kind of like, huh, but I don't know, with him, I don't know how to describe me. It's kind of more of this, and I could be wrong, so anybody can correct me on this. Would you say he's more like lawful neutral or chaotic neutral? Kind of between there. So I was saying maybe more the lines of lawful neutral is what I feel like his persona is in there compared to everyone else in the Saviors. Or it's almost majority is either chaotic neutral or just pure you know, lawful evil or chaotic evil, you know, in those terms. But with him, it's kind of different, you know, get a different vibe from him. At least I do whenever I see him on screen when he does what he does. So he's kind of an interesting member of the Saviors, at least for me. So he's kind of like as a kind of more respectable, you know, to him, you know. So he just does what he does. He respected, you know, Ezekiel's wishes to never enter the kingdom. And, you know, if it was another Savior, they would not give a shit and just get in the doors anyway. Just like, you don't tell us what to do, and they go and do what they do. But with this group, with the kingdom, since they're such in good terms, he highly respects Ezekiel and all that. Because Ezekiel does his part, they do their part, you know. But honestly, in this time, because of that mistake, they kind of showed their, you know, the side like, hey, just remember, we're respectable to you guys and all, but we're still the Saviors, and we still got to kill somebody when you screw up. Thus, that's what happened. So, and Ezekiel saw that, witness with his own eyes, the death of Benjamin. Well, not there. It happened when they took it back to Carol's place. Which, by the way, Carol finally decided to go in and find out what the hell's going on with the situation. The Saviors talked to Morgan, and Morgan just said he made a promise with Daryl and told, you know, Carol to say, why don't you go to Alexandria and find out yourself? And obviously she didn't want her to go. She just wanted to know the answer now. And then, you know, they brought Benjamin back there because she had the medical supplies they gave to her. I think most of it, or not if almost all of it, were at Carol's place. And then obviously Benjamin bled to death. So now, here's what I thought was kind of liked about this episode was Morgan. He seemed like he was slowly going mad and reverting back to his whole, you know, clear self. And you're kind of not know if he was going to go full on insanity again, or he's just kind of losing it, like he's breaking it, you know. And you know, when he kicked the bucket, he saw the missing cantaloupe, and it kind of, he was just kind of frustrated and broken, and you know who did it. By that point, you know, beginning I didn't get what happened to Cantaloupe thing, but until later I kind of paid attention, like, oh, especially when you see Richard's facial expression when they taking Benjamin back in the truck. I was like, oh, he must have done something, you know, and thus he did. And Richard. Now with Richard, it's another one of these very interesting characters where there's the decisions that he makes are kind of like, wow, what a dick. But at the same time, it's the cause where he kind of like, but it makes sense and I understand, you know? So what Richard tried to do is he purposely took that Cantaloupe out before the trade-in. So he wants to cause this fight. He wants to really tempt Ezekiel to go in war with the Saviors. He said originally, I was the one supposed to get shot. I was supposed to want to get killed in there. He wanted to become the sacrifice in order for Ezekiel and everybody else to get fired up and say, no, you know, this is the last time we're fighting now. He didn't expect Benjamin to die instead. And obviously Richard felt very guilty. And then he was talking to Morgan about his past, of how he lost his wife and his daughter because he didn't do anything to prevent that, at least according to him. So he got tired of just sitting around and doing nothing, basically saying, he says, like, once we see trouble, there's got to be some action, you know? And, you know, Morgan kind of listened to this, which almost sounds, you know, close, but not exactly like with the situation with Morgan's wife and son, you know? So he kind of felt sympathetic there. And Richard was basically saying, well, you know, what's done is done. You know, we needed somebody dead. If it wasn't me, well, you know, there we go. We can't do much. So he said, here's the plan. We're going to go in this, you know, give them that Cantaloupe or whatever that they needed left. And we're going to tell them, we're going to be all friendly and say, yeah, we understand. We're sorry. Trying to gain their trust back again. And then strike them when they're not expecting it. And he promised Morgan, I'll tell Ezekiel, you know, everything. I'll tell him the truth, okay, in a bit. And then, you know, he left while Morgan was just kind of sitting there thinking. And Ezekiel telling the bad news to Benjamin's brother, his little brother. So, and all that. Now, and then, oh god, and then the scene where they do the trade-in again. Or not the trade, but when they give him back the Cantaloupe. Richard was going, you know, according to his plan, and then you see Morgan with his staff and Benjamin's staff, and he just drops one of them and just freaking wails on Richard and strangling to death. Now here, obviously I knew his anger. Here's the funny thing, I thought this was actually part of the plan. Well, no, I originally thought, but then I remembered, you know, Morgan got frustrated because Richard still didn't tell Ezekiel the truth yet. He says, oh, we'll do it after this, I promise. And obviously that was like the last straw for Morgan. So when Richard was going with his plan, you kind of you see that what's it called? Morgan just had it and just, yeah, like I said, he hits him in the face with the staff and just starts strangling him and banging his head on the concrete road, where even the people from the Saviors just kind of looking. It's like, what the hell's going on here? And then Ezekiel and all the guys are shocked. Now the thing is, why didn't Ezekiel and the rest of the people of the kingdom that were there didn't stop Morgan? It's not like they knew the truth. They didn't know the truth till after Morgan killed him and told him, you know, what Richard did and everything. They just got all looked in shock. I am kind of surprised why they didn't jump in. That actually, you know, that actually didn't, I don't know. It was weird, you know. Usually if they see some of their own people getting freaking killed, even by someone else of their own people, they would have grabbed them and pulled them up, say Morgan, stop, or something. No, they're just saying Morgan, stop, and just watching in horror. They're like that, and it was, you know, I don't think there's going to be a problem when they intervene. You know, it's not like the Saviors are going to tell them, no, stop, let them kill him. No, they're just from both sides, but especially from the kingdom, they didn't do anything. So I don't know why they didn't jump in, you know? They weren't in bad terms as far as I know with Richard. So I was just thinking, why didn't they jump in and stop it? You know, stop Morgan from doing that to Richard. It didn't really click, you know? I didn't know what was the reason, so I was kind of like, you know? I don't know, it's just kind of odd. So at least I didn't know the reason, unless there was something that I didn't know. But as far as I know, I don't know why they didn't just jump in and stop it. So obviously for show purposes, just to get Richard killed and then continue with the plot there. So after Morgan strangled him to death, he used Richard's plan to good use, and he says, and he told the truth to Ezekiel and to the saviors there, like saying, he planned all of this, he wanted us to fight with you guys to cause trouble and all that, and I had to take him out. So just to let show you, I understand. We understand each other. No more problems with us. And then he just kind of looks at us like, oh, you know, just kind of nodded and just walked away and all that. And then Morgan, you know, he's in his head, he was kind of lost, you know, he was losing it, you know. It almost looked like he was not completely lost, but he's like on that verge. And Ezekiel wanted to come, but he just told him to leave him alone as they drove off. And then finally, finally to get Carol's side, Morgan went to Carol. And he just straight up told her everything. It's like saying, do you want to know what happened to Alexandria? And he just told her all, you know, about the death with Glenn and Abraham's, with those two, and then other people, like Olivia and Spencer. And that struck Carol and all that. And then Morgan, just after saying, he just straight out left, but Carol says, wait, we don't have to do this alone. While we're still, you know, I think he gave her the same thing when Morgan told Carol. It's like, you could be here, but not here. And she was basically just repeated that to him. So she went to Ezekiel and finally told Ezekiel, say, hey, I decided, you know, I'll stay here, you know, and get ready for this fight. And Ezekiel's like, yeah, you know, we're doing this, but he says, but not today. And you know, because he's right now regrowing the new garden and taking care of Benjamin's brother, his younger brother. So you know, he says, for now, let me do this peacefully, take care of this kid and all that, and then probably tomorrow we'll start talking, we'll start planning. And then you see, well, Morgan, he was carving out his staff, which I guess is going to be a sharp edge point. And it's kind of an interesting way to say, you know, Morgan is going full out. You know, this is the Morgan. You know, this is the Morgan that we wanted this whole time, where when it's time to fight and kill, it's time to fight and kill. But at the same time, he doesn't have to go full insanity either, where he's just killing random people out of rage and all that. You know, so I don't know how Morgan's going to be in this one. I don't know if he's going to completely lose it and go back to his old insanity self, or he kind of finally found that a balance where it's kind of more aggressive now, where all he wants is just to kill the saviors. You know, that's all he wants to do now. So hopefully he's kind of under control, you know, at the same time, where he just doesn't completely lose it. That's what I'm hoping, and he doesn't do anything too rational, like with what happening with Rosita right now, and now Sasha, he's convincing her. So hopefully that Morgan doesn't lose himself, you know, as that goes by, you know. So hoping so, but overall, I liked it. At least I liked it because it kind of built up that moment, what the reasons of why Ezekiel and Carol and Morgan, those three, are finally, and the kingdom, of course, are about to finally join forces and go to war with the Saviors. Those were the last people we needed. So now they're finally on board. So now, I think probably in an episode or two, they can finally all meet up. The people from the hilltop, the people from Alexandria, and the people from the kingdom. Plus, I guess with the addition of the junkyard people, or the garbage pail kids. Well, kids, whatever. And I think eventually we'll meet up with the Oceanside. So maybe all they need is Oceanside left, and then they have these 3 big communities and the 2 smaller ones to join forces and go against Negan and the Saviors. So it's finally this whole recruiting part of this mid-season is finally coming almost to a close now, and then we can finally move on and actually start the actual all-out war. So, but I don't know, I like the pacing and all in this episode. I enjoyed it. I just like this where they kind of finally moving on with Carol, finally getting Morgan stirred up. This was a little bit more Morgan focused in this episode, but I liked it, you know. It kind of showed why he went back to this, because I knew it had to involve, and I said this probably in videos before, I knew it had to involve a character death, and I knew for sure almost for sure that it had to be Benjamin, since that was the one he was closest with. So something would have happened with Benjamin that would have triggered Morgan to say, we can't stand this, we gotta go fight. Or at least for him, it's like, I gotta go fight. And all that, you know? And it's just, I was like, yes, you know, they did it right. I like the scenario, the good shots, and the intensity, what it was doing, you know? So, like, in this episode, Benjamin died, and then Richard died. And like I said, with Richard, I kind of wish he was still alive to fight, because I know he had the fuel to fight and kill the Saviors and all that. So he could have been a good asset during the fight, but I know the issue is the way that he wanted to start it. He always was gonna literally use some of his own people or someone he knew as a sacrifice to go get it started. So in a way, he was causing trouble. That's why Daryl did not like Richard at all. He got pissed because he was going to use Carol as the death bait. So he was kind of like causing an issue within the group, because he was going to get somebody killed, and it did. It ended up doing it. That's what happened to Benjamin, is because of Richard. Obviously, Richard didn't plan it. That was the thing. He didn't. Now, if Richard actually knew that Benjamin was going to get killed as a result for his own gain, I would have, I would have not liked that. But he actually was trying to get himself killed because he still has that issues with his wife and daughter, especially, where he just doesn't care anymore, and he just wants to fight against the Saviors and do something, even if he had to sacrifice himself for it. So he really thought he was going to be the one that gets killed, because especially the dude with the long hair and the Saviors, he really wanted him dead. But at the same, so like with Richard, I kind of wish he was in the fight, because he would have been an awesome asset with it, or at least he would have had that feel to really fight and go all out with the Saviors. But at the same time, he was causing issues, so in a way, he kind of had to be disposed. Or I just wish they would have just locked him in a jail cell that Morgan built all the way in Alexandria, just to hold on, we'll get things rolling and all that. And then once the fight comes, they release it, like, all right, let's go fight, for him not to cause any more trouble or death among his group. So I don't know, like with Richard's death, I kind of wish he was still alive for that, but I understand why he had to be killed at the same time. It was kind of this in between, you know. So I'm not 100% sure what would have been the better choice, because he would have been kept alive. I probably think he would have caused somebody else to die and all that. His plans, I think, was a little kind of schemish, where he used people as sacrifices or pawns for his goal to fight. Like, it was for a good cause, but it's the way that he did it that was dangerous, you know. So yeah, I can see why he had to be disposed of, per se. So, but oh well. But at least Morgan actually stood with his plan. He still liked his plan. It's just he didn't like the way that he did it, how he did his plan. But he wanted the results to happen. Richard had these good plans. It's just the way he did it, for using other people for it, you know, which is kind of dirty, you know. So, but it is what it is. So that's how that turned up. Now, for the next episode I'm seeing, it's going to focus now on Rosita. Well, not much Rosita, more Sasha. And the Hilltop again. So it's going to focus, it's going back to the Hilltop. I think Simon and the group are coming by. I don't know if Sasha and Rosita are going to go all the way to the main base, or at the Sanctuary where Negan is, to try to kill him there. Or they're just going to try to kill Simon when he arrives at the Hilltop. You know, to talk and negotiate again with Gregory. That I don't know. I don't know if they're going to try to kill just one of the guys there, or they're actually going to go against Negan himself. So next episode will actually be kind of interesting. I think that'll be the cause maybe of how they'll not kidnap, but either take hostage on Sasha or Rosita. And I'm highly assuming it is Sasha for the previous reason why I said so on 1 or 2 videos ago. So I think the next episode should be an interesting one. But for now, like I said, this one, I just liked it overall. I liked the mood. I liked the pacing. You know, there might be 1 or 2 slow moments, but it was okay. It built it up. I liked it with how Morgan, it was just slowly forming with how Morgan became he's almost back to his old self again, you know. This is like, holy shit, do not piss off this Morgan. Do not piss off that Morgan. do not piss off Carol now that she's back, and now Ezekiel's on the fuel, you know, but more of a controlled fuel, you know how King Ezekiel is. So now that Ezekiel with his pet tiger Shiva on board, now here comes the kingdom, and finally the kingdom are up to this. So this was an interesting way, I think, how the show did it. Compared to the comics, the kingdom were already on board when Rick and well, almost on board. They talked a little bit why he didn't want to sacrifice his people and all that until Ezekiel's like, well, okay. And then he joined forces immediately. Where in this one, he just flat out say no, and he was very cautious of his people and what he had there with peace. But obviously, he knew it didn't last, and he saw the results. And he says, you know what, maybe they're right. We do have to fight for our own peace. Not what this is going, a falsified peace. So, and he's finally on board. I like the way that the series did it. It actually gave a bigger impact of why Ezekiel wanted to now fight back and with the rest of the kingdom. So, I think it was a well done job on that part. So, well done, well done. But yeah, I just thought it was definitely a good episode with that, and it was pretty entertaining. Definitely a good one. I don't know if I'm missing anything else that I can think of in the series. I'm sorry, not in the series, in this episode. At least not that I can think of. So, I already explained everything with Morgan. Basically, Ezekiel and all that made his choice, and then Carol's finally back on board. So, we'll see how this goes. I don't know if they'll all go to Alexandria now, or they're going to wait and call up on someone there to meet up. They're going to make a meeting. I know eventually they are going to make a meeting. So I think that's what's going to happen. They're just going to somehow make a meeting, and they'll finally see Morgan and Carol and the kingdom with the King Ezekiel are finally on board. And they can finally start discussing how to take down Negan. And like I said, that probably might happen in an episode, or maybe not the next episode, but probably the following one. So the following one, or almost around the season finale. That'll probably happen. So, and that's what we'll see. But I think that's all I can think of that I gotta say. So, yeah, overall good episode. I really did like this one, so it was a good one. And yeah, that's it pretty much. So thank you guys for watching, and if you like the video, you know what to do. And as I always say here, I hope you guys have a nice day.